This is Fit Amputee powered by James Robert Fitness, and this is episode 9 of my podcast. And today's guest, I've got Kelly Roach. She's a former NFL cheerleader and Fortune 500 executive turned entrepreneur, mentor, and business growth coach. So thanks for coming on, Kelly.
I'm excited to be here, James. Thanks for having me.
So what we'll talk about first is, how did you get obviously initially into becoming an NFL cheerleader?
Yeah, definitely. Well, for me, it was really all about just continuing to challenge myself. I wanted to, I got to college and I had chosen the school that I went to based on, not wanting to get into a lot of debt and kind of being strategic about finances and that type of thing. And it just so happened that I had been a competitive cheerleader. I was an All-American All-Star. I was a competitive dancer all growing up. But unfortunately, the school that I went to didn't have a great dance or cheerleading team. They weren't like Division I or anything like that. So I didn't want to, go backwards and just kind of be like, oh, I'll just settle for this. So I was like, well, what can I do to keep challenging myself and keep performing and keep doing what I love? And I was like, why not audition for the Philadelphia Eagles? It's 45 minutes down the road from where my school is. And so that's kind of how it came about for me.
And out of interest, what school did you attend?
I went to Westchester University. Yeah.
So it's for people that don't know the geography of Pennsylvania, what is it near to?
Sure, it's eastern Pennsylvania. It's about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
So it's a quite small college type of environment?
Probably 10,000-15,000. Yeah.
Oh, not that. Well, that's probably big for a college or university in the UK.
Okay.
That kind of.
Yeah. So small to mid in the US, maybe larger in the UK. But anyway, it was such a fun experience. And it was incredible. I love performing. I love speaking. I love being in front of people. So I loved everything about it. And, obviously it's quite an experience, getting to perform, on a stage of that size and everything that comes with that. So it was pretty cool.
And obviously, is it quite competitive to actually get into that environment?
Unbelievably competitive. First of all, the audition process was 6 weeks long, and they made cuts pretty much every week. I think we started off with like 300 or 400 people auditioning, and at the end of the day, we had a team of 32, I think, actually. So it was very competitive. Many people audition for 2, 3, 4 years before they actually make it on the team. So it's a very, very competitive team to get on.
And do you believe, as a result of it, that has helped you a little bit in later life with what you've gone on to achieve and what you're doing now? Is that kind of like the
absolutely.
building blocks?
Yeah. I mean, because, you have to realize that the stamina that's required to do something like that, it's almost like, training for a marathon, right? So, the way I look at that is that was training for launching my career. And it got me comfortable being in front of cameras, speaking with CEOs, networking, doing media appearances, doing very long rehearsal times, from a physical standpoint. It's very physically demanding, obviously. So, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of different elements of that certainly helped with my career and things that I still pull from that today, absolutely.
And obviously people, I'm going to generalize here a little bit, obviously only see the cheerleaders when they're on the side of the field. And obviously they don't see obviously the other commitments you have to put in, obviously the amount of training, and then the other engagements that you have to do alongside the team.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people really don't understand that. First of all, when I was on the team, I was the youngest girl on the team. So I was 18 years old when I started cheering. Most of the girls that are professional cheerleaders are working full time. So on my particular team, there were girls that were scientists, real estate agents, teachers, nurses, all kinds of incredible professional careers. This is just one small element of, these individuals' lives. And, that cheerleaders don't really get as much credit because people don't see, like you said, they don't really see the behind the scenes of like everything that goes into it, the long rehearsal times, the appearances, the media, all the other elements beyond just game day, which is one small piece of what you do.
And then I kind of lost my train of thought there. How how I say this? What kind of, I'll phrase it a different way. What kind of engagements do you tend to have to obviously do? Because there's a lot of, so obviously the things I've seen, you do, well, obviously the NFL wants to get back into the community. Obviously they've got
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z projects to help the community. What are some of the things that the cheerleaders had to do when you were involved, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, everything from corporate events for major companies to community events to pep rallies at schools. I mean, the NFL is trying to be involved, like you said, in the community in all different events. And there's things ranging from things that we are doing for community service on one end to very highly paid, corporate events that people are paying major dollars to have both players and cheerleaders at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a very wide range of what you're doing there. But it's fun. It was fun either way.
And in the end, how long were you a cheerleader for?
Yeah, so I cheered for 2 years during school. I auditioned at the end of my freshman year, and I did that for 2 years. And then I actually went on to do 2 internships with them in their marketing and training camp teams before I graduated from school, because my second half of college I was starting to get really, really focused on my career, obviously. And so at that point it became a little bit more important to me to get some of that corporate experience in some of the fields that I was looking at before I graduated.
So from what you've said to me, I'm going to take the assumption you did some sort of business degree.
Communications, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I mean, I was just like everybody else. I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew myself. And what I knew about myself was I loved people. I loved being out in the community. I loved talking with people, working with people, being around people. I didn't want to be stuck in a cubicle, punching numbers all day or whatever. So to me, the thing that made most sense was communications. And interestingly enough, I think that was the absolute perfect degree for me, because it really is a match for my personality and my strengths. Although I do business, I think a lot of what you need to succeed in the business world, you can't learn in school anyway. So I don't think a business degree would have helped me with what I'm doing today really at all. I don't think that would have changed the trajectory of my career. I think it's more about navigating and understanding people and developing stamina and mental toughness and understanding strategy that comes through learning and experience versus something you can learn in a classroom.
And there's something I didn't touch upon earlier. Are you a resident of Pennsylvania? And then obviously before you became a cheerleader with the Philadelphia Eagles, were you a fan of that team?
Yeah. I grew up in the greater Philadelphia area, and so I was always kind of, a fan of the team, and I had always grown up, locally, and, so yeah, it was fun.
You're not one of these, obviously, I won't say the Philadelphia fans get a bad name for themselves, but...
Oh, they're insane. Are you kidding me? Philadelphia fans are the craziest people on the planet. It's like, I said, I was doing an interview the other day and they were like, well, how was it with the fans? And I'm like, well, I was lucky because I was cheering during the good years. Like, we were doing really, really well. So we didn't get the back end of like what it's like when the Philly fans are pissed. But no, they're definitely pretty crazy. So that's there's always something interesting going on there.
And then to put it into context for people that don't obviously know about, you probably could say that about a lot of areas, but is Philadelphia, from my understanding, obviously football, you got ice hockey,
Baseball. The Phillies are really big. So Flyers are big. Eagles are big. Philly's pretty much a big, like, they're about their sports teams. You know what I mean? So
So everything revolves around
yeah,
sport to a certain extent.
yeah.
And what is there a rivalry to a certain extent with Pittsburgh, or is it all right?
Well, I mean, we're playing Pittsburgh this weekend. We're playing Pittsburgh on Sunday, and that's going to be really interesting because, the Eagles, with the new quarterback and the new coach, we've had a great start to the year. Things are going well so far, but the Steelers are a good team. So this is going to be a bit more of a challenge than the first two games that we had. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some rivalry there, and the Steelers are a good team. So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be very interesting.
And then obviously, oh yeah, I forgot about the 76ers as well. So obviously,
Oh yeah, and the
from
76ers.
a sporting context, which of the sports are bigger? Because obviously, when it comes to college sport, Philadelphia is a little bit of a mecca to some extent with college basketball. Does that kind of come across? How would you say it? To the professional side of the game, or can I not generalize that much and say obviously some of the sports will be more
Yeah.
popular than others?
Well, I mean, I would say Penn State obviously is huge for football, and they've been huge for football for a very long time. I mean, we had Villanova last year that, won the national championship, for basketball, obviously, so that was huge. Temple typically is in there somewhere. So, we definitely have like some really solid, teams in this area that have been kind of long-standing staples for quite a while.
Okay. And then we'll kind of move on a little bit and kind of move on to the next topic. How did you go from obviously being involved in sport and then, like you said, you kind of went to the marketing side of it and the training camp side of the Philadelphia Eagles to becoming a Fortune 500 executive?
Yeah, so I mean, I started my sales and marketing. I started in to make it to the top of the organization really, really quickly. I was the first person in and the last person out every single day. And I was able to get promoted 7 times in my first 8 years. So I became the youngest senior vice president in the company. And I was traveling all over the place. I was in boardrooms. I was managing 17 different locations. So it was an awesome experience. I learned so much. But it definitely got to the point where it was really compromising my quality of life. And I couldn't keep going. I didn't want to keep going on that trajectory. I probably could have become, CEO of the company if that was my goal, but that's not my goal. I knew that in order to bring together my value system, which is freedom and financial abundance and fulfillment in the work that I was doing, that I needed to start my own business and really be making a difference for business owners, helping people to understand the things that I learned and had taught to so many other people in a corporate setting. Basically, that's what I do full time now. Like, I'm teaching entrepreneurs how to build and grow a profitable business and how to build a business around a life that they love versus a career that kind of compromises their quality of life, which is kind of the direction, especially in the US, where, a lot of careers go.
Okay. Sorry about this. It kind of froze the beginning of what you were saying. Could you repeat it again by any chance? Because the Skype call kind of froze there.
Yeah, definitely. You just want me to start that part
If
again?
that's all right.
Yeah, definitely. So I started as an entry level sales and marketing rep for a Fortune 500 firm. I was really determined to make it to the top of the organization. So I was first one in, last one out, and basically, gave everything I had. And I was able to be promoted 7 times in my first 8 years. I became the youngest senior vice president in the company. So I was managing 17 locations. I was traveling all over the country. I was in boardrooms and meeting with CEOs around the world. And, it just got to a point where I realized that this was not my goal. This was not the path forward for me. My values were freedom, financial abundance, and fulfillment. And I knew that the only way that I could achieve those three objectives was going to be through my own business.
And then obviously moving to more your side of the business. How long after working, obviously as an executive, was it before you started working for yourself?
Yeah, so I started my business in 2012. I took a year really focusing on learning online marketing and studying and really learning. I wanted to be able to do a hybrid of online and offline marketing, and I also wanted to be able to teach a hybrid. And I started taking clients in 2013, and then it's just kind of been, onward and upward since there.
I can say from first-hand experience, it's definitely a whole different, or how would you say it? A whole different animal, the marketing side of a business, because that's what I'm learning now. With obviously going from working more in the gym to going online, I'm quite confident with obviously the fitness side of it. Obviously, you can always learn within fitness and nutrition, but it's more the sales and marketing stuff is what I'm delving myself into, and it's like a totally different world.
It is. It takes time to learn, and it is definitely an education that you can't get any way other than doing it. So, it's something that every entrepreneur has to go through. I'm going to pop off for 1 second. I just need to plug my charger in for my computer. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't want the computer to die on us while we're talking
No
here.
worries.
So yeah, it's good. And you just have to be patient with yourself. And I always tell people, when you're starting to market online, you need to understand what you're in for, because it takes time, it takes money, right? And there's a lot of things you're going to learn the hard way a lot of times. So, right, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So you have to be in it for the long haul if you want to be successful,
Yeah, that's definitely true, and then obviously, it's trial and error to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But then it's, as I think one of the marketing things I was looking at the other day, there's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing wrong with relaunching the product again and again. Obviously, if it doesn't work the first time, obviously you can't. Obviously, you're going to rebrand and go again. So there's nothing wrong with that. So it's taking that to heart. So it's like, okay, because obviously mine. When did it go live? I launched my product. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Would have been probably about a month ago. It's gone okay, but I'm probably gonna have to branch out again.
Of course, and that's part of the learning process. You're gonna launch again and again, and every time you're gonna learn something new. Every time you're gonna improve. Every time you're gonna do a little bit better, and eventually, you'll get it. You'll get it to where it needs to be.
And obviously, it's trying to separate yourself from the crowd. So that all needs that like you say that takes time.
Yep, absolutely.
And then looking more on obviously now your business, what kind of clients do you tend to work with?
Yeah, so I run online coaching programs, I sell online courses, and I also do private coaching and consulting. So I work with both individual entrepreneurs that are starting and growing their own businesses, and I help them accelerate new client growth and improve sales and put the right business growth strategy in place to achieve their goals. And on the other side, I also work with larger organizations, and I help them drive engagement and peak performance, reduce turnover, improve their sales, metrics and performance. So, everything that I do ultimately is about helping people go further faster in accomplishing their goals and really giving them the simplest, most efficient path forward to get from where they are to where they want to be.
And then obviously how I got in contact with you was your Twitter, and then I had a listen to your podcast a little bit. So can you tell my listeners a little bit more about what you talk about on your podcast?
Sure, yeah. Unstoppable Success Radio is on iTunes, Stitcher, and like 15 other platforms. We're on the air 3 times a week, so we're extremely consistent. There's always something new. And, there's 3 different segments every week. So on Monday, I'm teaching something related to business, profitability, leadership, growth, mindset, strategy, everything that you need in order to be a successful CEO of your business and of your life. So it's not just about building a business that is a winning one, but also a life that you love. On Wednesday, we interview extraordinary guests that have achieved excellence in a variety of different fields that will help the listener to take away specific strategies and action steps to achieve their goals. And then on Fridays, every Friday is an Ask Kelly episode. So on Fridays, that's when I actually answer listener written in questions so that I'm making sure that the people that actually tune in are getting content that's really relevant and really specific to them. So I'd love if any of the listeners today would check out Unstoppable Success Radio.
Okay, that's no problem. And then, obviously, because you're on air 3 times a week, do you outsource some of your things that you're not comfortable with, say, social media or things like that, or do you still run some of that yourself?
No, so I have a full-time marketing manager that does a lot of social media and copywriting and networking and promotion and all of that. So she's a big piece of it. And then we have another person that does all of the production for the podcast. So she does all of like the back end, the editing, the show notes, all the kind of techie stuff to get it ready, gets it uploaded on the website, all that good stuff. So we have kind of different pieces of the puzzle that are each managed by different people on our team.
And then early on in your career, obviously in social media, was it you that was running a lot of your stuff?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it evolves over time, of course. The first hire that I made was a virtual admin for like an hour a week, right? So I started with that, and they did like loading my blog and sending out my email to my list and all that basic stuff. But so that I could focus on doing like client consultations and marketing and stuff like that. So your role in the business evolves with every step that you take in the business. Now I'm at a point where I basically do interviews, create content, deliver webinars, and coach my clients. And everything else, all the technical stuff, all the back end, all the marketing, that kind of stuff, my team does that for me.
Okay. So you just you can focus more on your time and giving the best of yourself to your clients. So to speak.
Exactly. And I mean, the thing is as you grow your business, your time has to be allocated towards things where you can sell one to many. So like my podcast, for example, is a huge revenue generator for us. So that's why I'm spending 3 days a week doing it, right? Same thing with the webinar. We do a webinar every Thursday because that's a huge client generator for us, and it's a way to sell one to many. So you kind of evolve. You start off doing the one-to-one, and then you go one to many. And then you do physical products so that you don't even have to be involved in it at all. And then you just kind of like continue to evolve and grow one step at a time from there.
It's probably something that people, I won't say don't understand, but they don't know. Obviously, as your business evolves, obviously a lot of it is automated. So you as long as you've put, it's how to say it, you kind of put in the hard yards at the beginning.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, quote unquote, it's the computer that's actually doing the work for you.
Yeah, in some elements. I mean, there'll always be certain things that need a human touch to them, right? But it's a balance between automation and systems that your team can execute. But one way or another, you get to a place where the vast majority of that workload you do not personally need to do, which is good.
Well, it gives you, like you say, obviously that's why a lot of people move away from, how would you say it, the office environment to going online, obviously, because it frees up more of their
definitely.
time.
I mean, even just think how much time it saves, driving to the office and driving back home and getting ready and getting stuck in meetings, and it saves so much time. Just going virtual in and of itself gives you back 2-3 hours a day. So that's huge.
And then looking on it from probably fitness, health, and well-being, it brings some stresses, obviously, because you've got to get it off the ground. But in the long run, it probably in my opinion, it probably improves your quality of life because you
Yeah,
haven't got those
absolutely. I mean,
external stresses.
there's so much more flexibility and freedom. I mean, obviously that's why we do what we do, right? But yeah, I mean, you have to be willing to sacrifice in the beginning for sure, or you'll never get to that place. So I think that's an important thing for people to know.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. So thank you very much for
Yeah.
taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on this. Well, it's not brand new anymore, but it's still in the early doors. So thank you very
No
much, Kelly.
problem. Yeah, thanks for having me, James.
And then obviously, if anybody wants to connect with you with social media, uh, and or your podcast, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the podcast is definitely the best place to go. If you are someone that's looking to grow your career, build your business, create freedom in your life, tune into Unstoppable Success Radio. Without a doubt, it will be a life changer for you. If you want to get in touch with me personally and you want to learn about how I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to start and grow profitable businesses, you can email me directly at coaching@kellyroachcoaching.com. And as far as social media and that kind of thing, I am out there. So you will easily find me. Kelly Roach, look me up on Facebook, look me up on Twitter. Let's connect. I would love to hear from the listeners.
So thanks again for your time. It was great. It's definitely good content and great insight to obviously how you've got from Philadelphia is a small town, but obviously going from the humble beginnings to where you are now, it's definitely it's an insightful thing for the listeners. Obviously, if you as you say, quote unquote, if you put the work in, anything's possible. So thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, James. Good luck with everything. And if you ever need support in your business, definitely get in touch with me.
Thank you. That would be of good help.
All right. Have a great one. Thank you.
You too.